Hi, Dr. Paul Haider, spiritual teacher, master herbalist here. And today I want to talk a little bit about communication that goes on outside of our body, inside of our body. And there can be a lot of things that get messed up in our body. There are 37.2 trillion cells in our body, and they're all interconnected, and there's hormones going back and forth, and nerve cells sending its signals everywhere. In the Chinese medicine, the meridians are sending energy to one point to another. All this energy is moving and changing billions upon billions of times every single second. And when we started ingesting things, like chemicals of all kinds, the average potato has 32 different chemicals in it, which is not good. We end up taking on all kinds of processed food with other preservatives in it. We end up, taking chemicals in our unfiltered water, all these different things. These start playing havoc with our system. And then we wonder why we're not doing well. This can cause hormonal changes in our body, hormonal disruptors. Actually, there's 10 to 12 different hormone disruptors that are found in food, chemicals in food, which are not organic. And this is really not good. And we see a lot of things like polycystic kidney disease, which I believe is actually directly related to all these chemicals also. And you see hormonal problems in the women and in men also. And I think a lot of them are directly related to all these chemicals that we have going on right now. We didn't see these back in the 40s and the 30s. We didn't see these in the 50s. But we started happening in the late 50s and 60s and 70s when we started spraying everything on the fields. It's not good. And so we really need to go back to eating organic food, which we originally had to begin with because we didn't have sprays to spray everything. And also that one enriches the soil. We put, manure into the soil. We end up with a lot of, probiotic type bacteria inside the soil, which ends up enhancing our plants. So we start this cycle, pull out a carrot, you wash it a little bit, you eat it, you get probiotics. In a great way. So it's about allowing ourselves to start this cycle of probiotic buildup inside our body, and instead of killing it off, if we eat regular food with all these chemicals, and some of them up to 50 chemicals in one food, we start killing all that bacteria. We should have anywhere from 4.5 to 5 pounds of good bacteria in our gut, and most people only have a half or a quarter. And I've seen people who have completely gotten rid of all their good bacteria in their gut, and they wonder why they're sick. And then, wow, we put them on a regimen of eating sauerkraut and kimchi and a lot of fermented foods in general, and lo and behold, they get better. And this intercellular communication starts again, and a lot of these hormone processes that were going awry, start to heal. Even things like, growing facial hair for women and stuff like that, and around the nipples and all kinds of different things, they start to go away. And very interesting. I find it extremely interesting. We have a solar system, a universe, a multiverse, which is interconnected in every single way. And this is not only the connection of communication within cells, but it's also the connection of our communication within this whole being of where we're at in the universe in general. It's really interesting if you look at inventors, and one inventor all of a sudden comes up with an idea, and within weeks, a whole bunch of people come up with the same idea at the same time, even though they had no knowledge of what the other people were doing. And all of a sudden, boom, just like that, everybody is coming up with a phone, or everybody's coming up with a light bulb, and all these different things. Very interesting. And we all have this interconnection. Tesla talked about this a lot. And I think that's we need to understand that there is this other ether of energy which is not empty, which is all around us, and it is interconnecting all of us together. Another studies were done with monkeys. Monkeys can learn how to use tools. And one monkey in one part of the world will pick up a rock and use it to break open a coconut, and all of a sudden, it was very interesting. At the exact same time, they have found that all the monkeys in the world learned that new lesson of how to use that rock to break that coconut. Is that amazing or what? I can't even get over it. It's like, wow. All this interconnection. How to, they don't pick up the phone and say, hey, monkey. I learned a new trick today. No, it's not happening that way. There is another interconnection that is going on between, one monkey to the next monkey to the next monkey, and it was like a huge spider web that's going on. I think it's pretty amazing. There's also been a huge amount of studies showing that there's an interplay of energy going on between people also. They have taken people who they put into a soundproof, light-proof, and also they take away, it's in what's called a Faraday cage, which no electronic energy can get through there, and they're in this room and they're looking at something, maybe a TV image or a painting, and then they have another person down the hall, maybe in another building, and they put them in a room. And this first person is looking at this image, and they try to transmit that to the second image. And over 80-some% of the time, the second person comes up with whatever it is that person is looking at. Maybe they're looking at an image of a Picasso, and they draw out the image of a Picasso painting. Or maybe they're looking at a tall building, and they draw a tall building. Very interesting. And they find this is even higher with people who are musically inclined, and so those people who play an instrument or play in a band or play in an orchestra, there was even a higher percentage. They were in the 90% that they could convey that image to the other person. Very interesting. I find it amazing, really. I think it's like, wow. And so there is this stuff going on. Also, there's a lot of studies showing that there is a lot more going on. They could take one person in one town and put them into a hypnotic trance, and you could take another person in another town at exactly the same time, put them into a hypnotic state, and they tell them beforehand they want them to go meet somewhere and have a conversation. It could be a long or a short conversation, and then when they bring them back out of the hypnotic state, they ask them at the same time to write down what they talked about during that conversation. And those conversations match exactly, and there is no communication whatsoever other than this otherworldly communication that is going on. That's phenomenal. I mean, it's just amazing. It's hard to even understand that, but there is some kind of ether communication, this non-local communication, which is going on at all times, and then that's mind-blowing and blows me away. It really does. Powerful, powerful. Also, in the last few, 10, 20 years, I think about 20 years now, there's been a lot of children born called indigo children, and they see the spider web of energy which is all around us, and they talk about it. And they know that there is this communication capability from one child to another, and all people. I think we kind of grow out of that because we're told it's not real, and we kind of poo-poo the whole thing and think that's not real at all. But they actually, one indigo child can talk to another indigo child without a cell phone, without a phone, without, internet or anything, and they actually have never seen each other before, but they know what each other looks like, and they know the conversation that they've had. And it's like, and sometimes they actually meet in person, and they go, "Wow, it's great to meet you in person." I think it is amazing, just absolutely astonishing, actually. So there is something else going on here. Of course, there's the fact that mothers, you know what I mean? There could be a mother sleeping, and all of a sudden she wakes up out of bed, and she has this feeling that something's happened to her daughter, and she has to get up out of bed and go call her daughter. And the daughter just had a car wreck, but she's okay, but she's in the hospital now, and blah, 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 on and on. And the mother gets dressed and goes to the hospital, and what was that communication that was going on there? And we've seen this thousands upon thousands of times. A lot of different great stories about that communication, which is all true between mothers and even parents in general, between their children. There is some kind of amazing connection there that goes on, which is not from an electronic device. So we have this otherworldly intercommunication between all things. Also, there is what people also call remote viewing. We take a person and they go and they blindfold them, and they would drive them around, and they would go past certain landmarks, and they would say, okay, tell me what you see here with your eyes closed. And they draw out maybe the, Lincoln Memorial, maybe the Washington, Monument, and all these different things. And then they come back and they actually have taken pictures of what they went by. And they had a blindfold on. They had, earmuffs on and everything. And they couldn't see or hear anything. And they actually drew out exactly what they were, going by. That is pretty amazing to me. Also, they have actually done this with the Army and other parts of the military, where they actually have them go out of their bodies and go to some other place in the world and come back and draw what they saw. Maybe it was some kind of military establishment there, and they come back and they draw everything they see, and they found it was amazingly correct, in the 90 percentile correct. So, and they could walk around the facility also outside of their body in this other place. And even, like I said, even the military had been using this. They say they're no longer, but I believe they probably still are. In fact, I had some people I knew that are actually part of that, and there was even a movie that talked about all that, and I thought it was pretty profound and amazing. So we have this interconnection of this vast network is around us. And I think we can do a lot more than we understand or even know. We kind of poo-poo the whole thing, but the reality is it's true. We have some kind of interconnection, this relatedness from one person to another and from one thing to another. It's all interconnected through this ether, this network that the indigo children see. There is nothing that is not connected, and this was talked about in all the spiritual texts for, thousands of years now. And even Jesus said, you can do all I can do, all I do, and more. And he was being truthful about this whole thing, but we have more power than we even talk about or even want to talk about. I think a lot of people on the average just say, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to be a person with extraordinary powers and have the ability to interact with different things. Well, that negates our power. There's no doubt about it. And we have power deep down inside. We have the ability to see things and know things. And just like my wife, every time she doesn't sleep, somebody related in the family has passed on. And that works every single time. And it's like, wow, amazing. So we know if my wife doesn't sleep, some of the older people or somebody in the family has passed on, and she wakes up and go, oh man, I didn't sleep well. We start looking around and connecting with some of her family, and right away we know that somebody has passed that night. Or during the day, or somebody in the world that we knew that was connected with us actually passed on. And so this is another little nail in the process of understanding all of us are interconnected. I'm connected to you, you connected to me, and we're connected to everyone and everything. There's no doubt about it. And if we use this in a great way to understand ourselves, not be afraid of it, we can make changes in the world. Even in meditation, we can, a huge amount evidence showing that if we do meditation, we can actually change the crime rate in the world. We can change the way people think. We can create more peace in the world. And these studies have been done hundreds of times, but nobody's doing it. We need to have more people meditating on peace, and we create peace in the world. And we can do that. This is a new year coming up, and I know that if we all meditate on peace, if we all meditate on love, if we all meditate on bringing, the goodness into the world, that we can make a big change in the world, and we can do this because we do have the power. Everybody has the power, not just, one particular person, not just one particular group or anything. Every single person has that power. But you have to believe you do. That's the biggest thing. So allow yourself to get rid of all those chemicals in your life that's really disrupting the inner part of yourself, and start believing in the inner communication that you have to communicate with everything in the world, and bring about peace in the world, and bring about love in the world, and bring about the inner communication of all beings, that we can thrive and have a new 2019 with great peace and a great collection of understanding of all of us are one being in general. So you have a wonderful day. And if you would like to get a hold of me, my phone number is 831-869-9119, 831-869-9119. That also works with WhatsApp. You can go to my Facebook page under Dr. Paul Haider, Dr. Paul Haider, and you can message me there. Also, you can email me at drpaulhaider@gmail.com. That's drpaulhaider@gmail.com. That's drpaulhaider@gmail.com. And also, my Skype is drpaulhaider. Send me an invite. And all my consultations are free, so if it be herbal or spiritual, I would love to hear from you and help you in any way, shape, or form I can. If you would watch the little ads, I appreciate that. It brings a little bit of pennies to my wife and I. And if you care to make a donation, that is greatly appreciated. You can do it on Patreon, which is down below. Make a monthly donation. I really greatly appreciate that. Or you can go do a one-time donation if you'd like, and that's greatly appreciated too. And we're trying to make a difference in the world, and I'm going to be making an announcement of a dietary challenge for you guys, and I think it's going to be exciting, and we're going to make a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. So have a wonderful day. And remember, most of all, above everything else, I love you.